livelihoods and connects people across borders in meaningful, what we call human-centered ways. And in that way, we cannot forget the agricultural sector, because we all have to eat when we go to the different countries. And in some cases, the manufacturing, because some of the food is also processed, and some of the products that we use have to be manufactured. The toothpaste, the juices we drink, So all that, you can see the value chain in the tourism sector is actually comprehensive and touches the different angles of what we would at the AFCFTA then call trade. And therefore it shows the importance of this sector, and that's why as the AFCFTA it becomes very important for us. Now then, moving on to what exactly in the policy side are we doing as the AFCFTA? So tourism is situated in the framework under the AFCFTA Protocol on Trading Services, and this is one of our key tools for unlocking the potential of the sector and for the development and implementation of what we call the schedules of specific commitment, which are the liberalization commitments that the different member states or state parties of the AFCFTA have made to open up or liberalize the different sectors. Now, maybe another key element to talk about, and here I was so impressed when we had a meeting with the Minister of Tourism for South Africa, and she was engaging with His Excellency Wamkelemene, our Secretary General, and she was actually talking about the regulatory framework that we are developing in the tourism sector, and she had key great ideas on how to ensure that regulatory framework does cover some of the key important areas that are important for the tourism sector, especially for South Africa. And so we were quite impressed that South Africa is taking the lead to ensure that the regulatory framework is actually developed in a manner that is going to be instrumental in developing the sector in the continent. And from this, we see that the protocols, and the regulatory framework, once well developed and well implemented, there are real tangible opportunities that are created through the AFCFTA Protocol on Trading Services, and in this case, in the tourism sector, with youth-led enterprises actually at the center of it all. Yet, as important as market access is, it must then also be supported by coherent regulatory foundations, and so that is why the regulatory framework then becomes very important. And here we are looking at the harmonization of the different regulatory frameworks in the continent, ensuring that they are transparent and that they are predictable, and then create an environment that is sustainable and that supports the market access that has been already established by the different countries. And in this so doing, it will support the alignment of national regulations and also build trust among the operators and consumers across the continent and reduce uncertainties for our investors, and also provide an enabling condition or environment for youth-led businesses to thrive. It's also a key part of building confidence in Africa's tourism economy. In this journey, we are proud to have worked alongside Africa tourism partners whose tireless work over the past 3 years has helped elevate the visibility and policy relevance of the tourism, cultural, and creative industries within Africa's trade agenda. It is also through such platforms that we also participated in what we call the Africa Tourism Leadership Forum that is also run by ATP. And this has also been instrumental in setting out the work of the AFCFTA when it comes to the tourism, cultural, and creative sector. And so this has brought to us, or has helped to actually reduce the gap between the entrepreneurs, and that's the private sector, and the policymakers in which we work with. At the AFCTA Secretariat, we view ATP as a long-standing or long-term ally in building the ecosystem that is needed for the tourism, cultural, and creative industries that they may flourish across the continent, and that is the African continent that we're talking about today. We are proud of the partnership that we have built so far, and look forward to seeing it grow in strength and substance in the years to come. Therefore, this week's summit and Innovations Challenge serve as a critical function in connecting youth to markets, youth to mentors, and also for providing meaningful opportunities for the youth of our continent. It offers a space for matchmaking, for collaborations, and also for scaling. It aligns directly with our shared vision under the AFCFTA of creating a single integrated African market where young Africans are leading by example. These young innovators, artists, entrepreneurs are building businesses that do more than just generate income. They create meaning, they carry culture, and they tell stories that shift narratives and reposition Africa in the global imagination. Let me close by reaffirming that the AFCFTA Secretariat remains fully committed to supporting youth participation across all the different sectors in our economies, especially those as vibrant and transformative as the tourism, cultural, and creative industries. We will continue to ensure that our policies, programs, and partnerships reflect the energy, the creativity, and the ambitions of our African youth. The future of our continent will not be defined solely by economic and trade statistics. It will be shaped by the dreams, the choices, and determinations of its young people. We are proud to walk alongside you as partners in that journey. Thank you, and I wish you all a good meeting and summit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I love that song. Now, in case you're wondering why does he keep playing that song, what I'm wearing today is traditional Namibian attire. So when we wear this, it means the party's about to go down. And when that song plays, it means, listen, my feet are going to be tapping on this floor, all right? So every time my DJ plays that song, I want every Namibian in this room to get on their feet and show us what their mama gave them, all right? Thank you so much, Ms. Mburundoria, for that very, very powerful message. Ladies and gentlemen, may I ask that you please give her a very big round of applause. Now, as we reflect on the role of trade, innovation, and policy, it's clear that the youthful Africans must be placed at the center of our continent's economic development, not just for the why, but because their energy, creativity, and resilience, like Ms. Emily said, is not just the future. The youth are the driving force of Africa's present. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to appreciate the great work that is undertaken by the AFCFTA, especially with regards to tourism development in Africa. So please give them another round of applause. Thank you so much. Next on our program is an address by His Excellency, the Ambassador, Albertus Auchamop, who is the ambassador of Namibia to France and Spain, and also the permanent delegate of Namibia to UNESCO. So please, let's turn to our screens and indulge him. Thank you so much. And although he is not here, I trust and believe if he is online, he would appreciate a round of applause. Thank you so much.
Distinguished delegates, dear young innovators, partners, and friends of African tourism, it is both an honor and a joy for me to address you on behalf of Namibia. We are gathered here not only as stakeholders in tourism, but as architects of a new African future. As the Nigerian poet Ben Okri reminds us that we, especially our youth, are the miracles that God made. And indeed, the miracle of African innovation, resilience, and youthful promise that has rarely been more visible than in this summit. Having hosted the 4th to the 6th editions of this flagship Africa Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit, Namibia has witnessed firsthand the power of youth-led tourism innovation to transform not only economies, but minds, communities, and aspirations. Our involvement has not been symbolic. It has been transformational. The summit helped promote Namibia as a vibrant destination, not just for tourists, but for youth, investors, and innovators from across the continent. It showcased our potential as a launchpad for smart, inclusive, and sustainable tourism. The summit empowered our young people not just to participate in tourism, but to lead it through innovation challenges, networking, and mentorship. Young Namibians discovered not just opportunity, but agency. Most importantly, it inspired a new generation to reimagine tourism as a force for social cohesion, national unity, and prosperity. From local crafts innovation in Utapi to ecotourism solutions in the Zambezi region, young Namibians have been charting a bold, inclusive path forward. We often say tourism is everybody's business. But this summit proved that when youth are involved, tourism becomes everybody's passion. It becomes a platform for economic growth, yes, but also self-actualization for creativity and for storytelling. It becomes a stage for young Africans to tell their own stories, to shape the global narratives, and to drive community development on their own terms. Namibia remains committed to this movement. We are not just past hosts. We are enduring allies. We believe that tourism in Africa will thrive when driven by African solutions, African values, and African youth. As we pass the baton to our brothers and sisters in South Africa, we do so not in farewell, but in fellowship, because it is not a handover, but it is a continuum of ideas, of dreams, of shared purpose. In the words of Shakespeare, who once wrote, "Youth," I quote, "youth is full of pleasance, age is full of care," end of quote. Let us cherish the pleasance, energy, and insight of our youth, not only for what they bring today, but for the futures they are building for all of us. To all our young innovators in the room, keep dreaming, keep building, keep traveling. The continent is yours to shape, and the world is yours to welcome. On behalf of the Republic of Namibia, we extend our warmest solidarity and enduring partnership. With those words, thank you, merci, Ki a leboga, asanteni sana, dankie, obrigado.
What did my ambassador say? Ke a leboga, to each and every one of you. And of course, to him too, for giving us that wonderful presentation this morning. Now, it is evident today that we, the youth, are the... Am I still a youth? Am I regarded as youth? So I can use the word we. Okay, great. So we, the youth, are the architects of our future, and our involvement in tourism is definitely transformational. Now, we are going to deviate a little bit from our program, so do allow me to invite Mr. Glenton de Kock for a brief address. And of course, because he is here, he deserves a mighty round of applause.
Good morning. Let me thank the MC and all of the speakers for listing all the important people. I come from the Eastern Cape originally, so protocols are the worst thing for me. Literally the worst thing, because I either have to write them down, my pronunciation of names is terrible, I'm not linguistically astute to that, but let me welcome the more important people, which is all of the youth in the room. And let me thank the ambassador for reminding me that I was also young once. So because the month of June is quite a sort of busy month for myself. As CEO of the Southern African Association of the Conference Industry, I'm also treasurer of the African Tourism Private Sector Association Alliance. And I get the privilege to go around the country and I speak to a lot of young people. So this is my 4th engagement, speaking to young people. And in doing that, I'm normally the oldest person in that room. So today with my colleagues, I don't feel that old. But let me start off by indicating that when, and take it from somebody that didn't enjoy doing what I'm doing this morning, which was speak, and the ambassador quoted Shakespeare there. And one of my tasks when I was in my final year in high school was to recite Hamlet's sonnet, to be or not to be, this nobler man, and I can continue on because the reason for why I was pressed to do that, my English teacher who I had the privilege of seeing a couple of years ago, a lady called Miss Grimsel, who was a Buddhist, so she dressed as a Buddhist at school, drove us to do the following. And I think it's something that all of us struggle with when we're older. We forget that we were young, And I said to a colleague yesterday, we said, Glenton, you're always on time. And I said, well, I was never on time when I was younger, right? And I never wanted to do speaking when I was younger either as well. But Ms. Grimsel was very clear. She said that one day, Mr. de Kock, because she never called us on our first name, somewhere you're going to have to talk. Either at home, either in the classroom, or either in a gathering like this. So when you gather as a young person, and I think it's something that I get into trouble for, I think there's too many opportunities for young people on our continent. Because just for a show of hands, let me pause there and I'll get back to that point. Anybody in the room who has Googled themselves in the last month? Who's Googled themselves in the last month? Right? Cool. It's actually getting better as I go around the country. When I started in the first week of June, nobody Googled themselves. Who has asked ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, who they are? So, like for myself, who's asked them? So, yeah, right. Why I do this and the rationale for me doing is the following. We are told that Africa is the next big thing. We are told that Africa has got the youngest population. So within our industry, if there's so many opportunities for young people to engage in tourism opportunities, and you are sitting here today, the requirement that I'm asking you to consider is how deep is your understanding of the continent and of the industry. You see, because we live in an underlined world at the moment. The complexities of geopolitics is of a global nature, but has local consequences. And many a person, and I can say this because I've seen people around the country in the last couple of weeks or months, have never studied geography at school, got no degree in geography, no degree in macro or microeconomics, speak about tariffs, speak about geopolitics, and some of them can't pinpoint these places on a map. So when you're in tourism, young people, you need a deep understanding that what we do is that we bring people to our countries that we live in, and they pay for that. That's the weirdest thing that I always find is people save up their money or they get invited to a conference and they come to your country, and then we're not sure what to do with them, or we see something happen, but we don't understand the economics behind that. So what's happening in the Middle East, what happened in the last, let's say, 12 days, in particular the last 48 hours, brought part of the global airline industry to a standstill, to complete standstill. There were people on planes that were in mid-air that had to turn back, which means that if you are one of those individuals that is coming to South Africa or to this conference, you might never arrive as a starting point. And second to that is, it then hurts the economy at a real local level. So if Africa's time is now, and if you are the youth of today, not tomorrow, my appeal to you this morning is that when you are provided a platform like this, become like SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, we all know SpongeBob SquarePants. Huh? You know, soak it up. He lives under the water. He's got all his weird and wonderful friends, but he's just soaking everything up. Because if I didn't have him as Grimsel, then I'm not able to stand and just speak to you the manner that I'm doing right now. If I didn't have colleagues and the time to invest in yourself, because many a time, and I'm sure one or two of you will come to me and I get asked the question, so sir, when do I start traveling? Then I go, well, I had to wait until I was 32 years old to get a passport to travel for the first time. Some of you will travel way earlier than what I will ever travel in my career. My challenge to yourself is, how much do you want it? Because you've got a platform. But if you want it, these are the three things you must do. You must have a deep, deep understanding to connect with people. You must connect with people. If you have a deep understanding to connect with those people, you must collaborate so wide that you must have a colleague or a friend in any part of the world. Right? Not a TikTok buddy, not an Instagram, an actual person that you can communicate with to go, I have a problem, do you have the solution? And vice versa. And then the third sort of aspect is, if you've got those two things working for yourself, is where do you find your speciality? What makes you special? Why are you the person that they must come to? Because if you don't have that distinguish of where your speciality lies, then part of the problem is you're just part of that washing machine effect that everything looks exactly the same. You might maybe separate the whites from all of the colors, but it's still the same white and still the same colors. So why are you that particular special person? So take it from me, young person, that your life is not linear. Your career is not linear. Right? And then in that aspect of that linear approach, be mindful of who you are friends with. Because there's this thing called professional jealousy. But it also happens every your friends. Because now you here, and your friend is somewhere else. You must travel for work, but your friend is like, but why are you always traveling? And then you go to cool places. And then your friend, who was your friend for years, is no longer your friend. Because now you're the cool kid that is sitting in Dubai, sitting in Johannesburg, going to Nairobi, and it just continues that way. So when we gather as leaders with the leaders that are today in front of me, I'm always mindful that if you forget everything that I've said, you need to know who you are. Because this is a people industry. And within that professional jealousy, if you're building and you're the next leader, you're the next person that's come speak here at next year's conference, what are you going to drive towards and who are you going to bring with you? See, because the challenge that we have at the moment, and sorry for everybody in front, some of you I know, some of you I don't know. But you see all this, the first two rows here, it's all the old people in front. No? All the old people. Right? Some of you have come with your friends. I will be here probably till about 11, 11:30 or 12 o'clock. Maybe one or two of you will come speak to us. The rest of my colleagues that will be here for the entire day. None of you will speak to them. You listen to them, but you won't speak to them. One of the failings in our industry is I call them tribes. They are tourism tribes. People huddle together, and sometimes they do business together, and it makes it difficult for you as a young person to infiltrate that, what I call an ecosystem, right? Understand that you can actually build your own ecosystem, and you can utilize the old ecosystem to build a new one. But what you do is you think like a young person, you behave like a young person, and you show up as a young person. And we all did that. Take it from a guy who, my very first meeting that I got invited to was at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I said to myself, 7 o'clock in the morning. There's no way I'm going to get to that meeting. I'll get there once I'm woken up, and I get there at 8:45. It was the last time that I was late. Ever. Because your behavior actually becomes your trademark and your signature. Your behavior becomes that. People remember those small little things, right? And I said it last week in Cape Town. Last week we spoke to our youth council, because at SABC we've got a youth council. And I said to them, how you show up is so important. And it's not how you look. It's how you actually carry yourself, right? Because, and this is something that I own now. I didn't want to own it originally, but I actually own it now. 2 or 3 years ago, the previous Deputy Minister of Tourism, Tata Fish, we were in Northwest, also at a gathering, and I struggled to pronounce his surname, because there's a couple of double HLs in there. Mthethwa. Like I really struggled to pronounce. So I just called him Deputy Minister Fish, and he was happy with that. But he also struggled to remember who I was, because we worked a lot together. he also struggled, and in a gathering like this, we were talking about the meetings and events industry, because that's where I worked. And he said, and somebody asked a question about the industry, and he goes, but there's a meetings and events guy. He knows what to do. And I looked, and I'm like, you're talking to me? He says, no, yeah, you're the meetings and events guy. And that's the way that I know you. And at first I'm like, why the heck? But I've owned the meetings and events guy sort of space, right? Because that's sort of distinguished me from the rest of my colleagues. And in a weird way, without being aware of it at that stage, but having a deep understanding of the work that I do, I share now that I'm the meetings and events guy. Forget my name, but don't Google meetings and events guy. You won't find me there. Just Google Glint, and you should be finding me there. So in having the opportunity to address you this morning was to obviously indicate that association spaces that I work in are fundamentally important, and we create those platforms. My challenge to you as the youth is, as I said at the beginning, I think there's too many opportunities for you. And because there's too many opportunities for you, partly of the opportunity that I have to speak to yourself is figure out what distinguishes from each other, figure out where your passion lies, be prepared to talk a lot, be prepared to also meet a lot of people, but make sure you know who your partner is. Not partners, partner, right? Because what you don't realize is that this industry takes you away from your family. It shows you all the cool places, you meet all these cool people, but it takes you away from your family. And then you realize, as my daughters realized, why I don't have friends. Because I'm always moving and I've always been working. So I'm a terrible person to be a friend, like really terrible. I mean, Tess and I are colleagues. We don't call each other friends. She knows we are colleagues, but we are terrible friends, right? We are terrible friends because Tess and I are here now. I'm going to leave. Tess is going to go to Harip. I'm off to Cape Town again. So in leaving you with the following, you are the leader of today for Africa. We require you to step up today. We require you to challenge the frameworks that are in place, and we require you to work side by side with us, not the other way around. So I wish you well. I thank the organizers for the opportunity. I wish the fellow speakers well in terms of what you're going to deliberate. But please, young people, please engage and engage. Thank you very much.
All right, now can all the leaders in the room please stand up? Hello, leaders. You were just told that you are the leaders. And when I called you out, you literally did not stand up. So as the leaders, can I ask you to please give yourselves a beautiful round of applause? That's right. Turn around and give the next person a high five and tell them we are the leaders. All right. Thank you so much, dear leaders. May I ask that you kindly take up your seats. Thank you so much, Mr. De Kock, for that call to action. I mean, he did call us and he rather implored us to learn and explore beyond our boundaries. So going forward, let us all become sponges and soak up all that we can throughout this summit. Oh, by the way, I'm looking for 5 new besties so that when I do go back home, I know I've got 5 new besties from all over Africa. And I hope that you too will be out and about scouting for your tribe, of course, and your human ecosystems. Can we give Mr. De Kock a wonderful round of applause? Thank you so much. Now, those who have just joined us, welcome to the 7th edition of the Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge. We're coming to you live from the Midrand Conference Center right here in the beautiful city of Johannesburg, South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we gave Johannesburg a round of applause this morning. Can we please do that? Yes, I am the queen of round of applause, so please do indulge me during the course of this week. So our keynote address for this morning will be delivered by the Honorable Patricia de Lille, who is unfortunately not here, and she is the Minister of Tourism in South Africa. However, she will be represented greatly and wonderfully by Dr. Sipho Ngomane, who I now invite on stage. And if I ask you to please stand up for our keynote address, and of course, a thunderous round of applause. Thank you so much.
Program Director, Ms. Linda Mupupa, the CEO of African Tourism Partners, Mr. Kwake Donko, the Secretary General of the United Nations Tourism, His Excellency Zurab Polol Kashvili, the UN Tourism Executive Director, Ms. Natalia Boyana, the UN Tourism Regional Director for Africa, Ms. Elsia Grandcourt, the Director at the African Continent Free Trade Area, Ms. Emily Njeri Morindoria, the Minister of Tourism and distinguished delegates, Ambassador Achmob, the Permanent Delegate of Namibia to UNESCO and the United Nations Tourism, academics, industry leaders, youth innovators, students, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you all warm greetings from the Republic of South Africa. It is both an honor and privilege to stand before you today at this 7th Africa Youth in Tourism Innovation Summit and Challenge. This gathering comes at a very meaningful time for our nation. June is Youth Month in South Africa, a month when we honor the courageous young people of 1976 who reshaped our democracy. We remember their bravery and we recommit ourselves to building a future where young people are not only heard, but empowered, trusted, and supported. This summit is a continuation of that vision, a platform where governments, the private sector, academia, and most significantly, Africa's youth come together to co-create a more innovative, inclusive, and resilient tourism sector. Tourism is one of the most powerful economic sectors in the world. It is a job creator, a community builder, a cultural preserver, and a vehicle for sustainable development. In South Africa, the tourism sector contributed 8.2% of the gross domestic product in 2023. By 2025, we anticipate this to rise to 8.9%, and projections suggest we could surpass 10% by 2030. But this growth must translate into real, tangible opportunities for our young people. Consider this. By 2030, 42% of the world's youth will be African. This is not just a statistic. It is a defining moment. The question is, are we ready to leverage this demographic dividend? Youth unemployment remains one of the greatest challenges facing the continent. And while tourism has immense potential to generate jobs, access remains uneven, particularly for our young people. That is why we must reimagine tourism, not just as a leisure industry, but as a strategic platform for innovation, skills development, digital transformation, and inclusive entrepreneurship. There is growing alignment on this vision across the continent. I wish to acknowledge the recently held 68th Commission for Africa Summit held in Abuja in Nigeria under the theme Boosting Social Impact and Education in Tourism through Innovation, Artificial Intelligence, and Creative Industries in Africa. Our work today builds directly on that foundation. As South Africa prepares to assume the G20 presidency in 2025 under the theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability, we have identified artificial intelligence, data governance, and innovation as critical levers for sustainable development. And tourism is central to this vision. The Department of Tourism is committed to a youth-centered, innovation-driven approach. We believe in investing in people-centered artificial intelligence, not to replace human experiences, but to enhance them. To this end, we have launched a tourism and AI hackathon in collaboration with 18 tourism and hospitality institutions of higher learning in South Africa. This initiative brings together students, developers, designers, and tech enthusiasts to co-create a digital solution that promotes sustainable tourism. The top ideas will receive support for commercialization, helping our youth transition from students to entrepreneurs, from job seekers to job creators. Along this, we are undertaking a review of tourism education and training aligned with the National Tourism Sector Strategy and the Medium-Term Development Plan. Our aim is to ensure that skills being taught are demand-driven, future-focused, and linked to digital readiness, sustainability, and service excellence. We have also rolled out multiple programs benefiting youth development. One of them is capacity building initiatives that includes culinary training, artisan recognition of prior learning, food and beverages, and international placement programs that helps to prepare youth for high demand roles in the sector. Our tourism safety monitors program, delivered in partnership with the South African Police Services, trains and deploys youth to promote safety and visitor information at key attractions. The National Tourism Career Expo introduces high school learners to a world of opportunities in tourism and hospitality, increasing enrollment in tourism-related studies nationwide. These are not small interventions, but pathways to transformation. We recognize that small enterprises are the backbone of tourism innovation. Through the Tourism Incentive Program, we are actively supporting medium, small, micro enterprises and startups through the Market Access Support Program, assisting businesses to exhibit at domestic and international platforms. The Tourism Grading Support Program, subsidizing the cost of quality certification in terms of businesses that have guest houses, accommodation establishments, and so on. The Tourism Transformation Fund and Tourism Equity Fund helps to drive transformation by offering blended finance and equity support to Black-owned enterprises. The Green Tourism Incentive Program encourages environmentally responsible practices, thereby promoting sustainability. These tools are being reviewed and aligned to ensure greater youth accessibility and regional inclusivity. We will announce application windows in due course, and I encourage all youth enterprises to prepare and participate. We're also exploring new frontiers in tourism. Our exciting area is digital nomad tourism, where remote work meets cultural exploration. For this to thrive, we must invest in digital infrastructure and regulatory readiness. Countries such as the United Arab Emirates, Brazil, India, and Ethiopia are already embracing this model. South Africa is ready to join that movement with our youth at the forefront. For tourism to thrive, Africa must be open and connected. The African Continental Free Trade Area is a game changer. It's a framework to make travel easier, to break down visa barriers, and to build corridors of trade and tourism. Because when young Africans can move freely across borders, ideas flow, businesses grow, and cultures blend, making our continent stronger. When you fly to some of our African countries, you'll have to go out of Africa and come back to Africa. It is a reality. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, and especially young leaders, this summit is your platform. But beyond these 3 days, the real summit lies in your vision, your voice, and your actions. Africa needs trailblazers, not passengers. And you are already proving that you are ready. Africa is not waiting to be discovered. Africa is being reimagined by its youth. Let us harness the power of innovation, tourism, and Pan-African unity to build a future where young people not only benefit from the tourism economy, but lead it. Let this be the summit where dreams became strategies and strategies became impact. I wish you a fruitful, inspired, and courageous summit. Thank you so much.
All right, can we please give the good doctor, our keynote speaker, a wonderful round of applause? Thank you so much for those wonderful, insightful, and inspiring remarks, Honorable Doctor. Dear youth, as we continue these important conversations, let us remember that tourism is not only a powerful economic driver, but also a catalyst for skills development and youth empowerment, as stated by our keynote speaker. Investing in tourism, education, and training is key to unlocking sustainable growth, ensuring that our young people are equipped and confident and ready to lead Africa's tourism sector into a dynamic and inclusive future. Let us make sure that the youth is empowered, the youth is heard, and the youth is trusted. This is and would definitely be the Africa we want. A wonderful round of applause to the doctor, please. Thank you so much. Next on our program, ladies and gentlemen, is a panel discussion on community engagement and inclusive tourism. Now, we are going to unpack this topic, and our moderator is Mr. Mthethwa. Are you ready? Can you join me on stage, please? And then, of course, his panelists are Dr. Sipho Ngomane, Professor Kobe Mensah, all the way from Ghana. That's right. Let's give them a round of applause. Let's encourage them. All right. I'd like
W of the oppressed says dialogue. Dialogism is a meaning-making process. Any one of you can go first. I don't want to describe. No, you can. It's Youth Month and ladies first, so
I guess because of the youngest. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How's everyone doing? Our national tourism policy has prioritized local participation, particularly by encouraging ecotourism clusters and youth cooperatives in rural regions such as Janjibari, Kantur, Bako, Banjul. They are living commercial villages where artisans, farmers, performers, and young entrepreneurs thrive. However, challenges remain. Many youth and women still face barriers to finance, struggle for empowerment, dignity, and self-reliance. Because when we empower our youth and women, they look at other people that are older, that are doing things that won't really benefit them in the future. We are looking at short-time benefits, money, right? We're not looking at what can actually sustain our. This is what's here, and I'm going to take you by the hand, by fire, by force, because we are the future leaders of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How do you from Victoria?
AFCTA Secretariat. But apart from that, we come from Kenya, and I'm sure most of you have heard of our Gen Zs. I think nowadays you talk about Gen Zs, and that is what how do I not massacre your name? Is also being addressed, and I think the whole continent needs to really address this issue and understand how do we deal with the youth in the continent in a more productive manner and in a way that can actually bring sustainable development. So I think dialogues like this will help us to move forward these discussions and to see how best to include the youth, which includes a lot of women and youth. We have the music industry, which also includes a lot of youth, and of course music goes with dancing, and we saw some moves this morning. So you can imagine how many youth can actually be in the creative industries in the continent. So that's just a snapshot of the policy work that we are undertaking under the AFCTA, and that's supporting countries to ensure that we are able to implement in a sustainable manner and in a manner that benefits the youth and women.
I'm honored. You mentioned very, sports, beauty pageantry, quite a number of things. And that really pulls us away from this thinking that things are still theoretical. There are stuff that is happening, and the policies that you mentioned, and it says what is required is provision of meaningful support to countries to ensure that this. We can see you. Everybody in the room can see you.
Thank you.
Sure. How do we move beyond rhetoric to meaningful action on this beautiful continent? Prof?
Absolutely. I think that the key is about providing the infrastructure, the support that is needed. By the way, let me also bring you greetings from my Honorable Minister, whom I'm representing. That is Honorable Abla Jifar Gomashi, who is the Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, and of course my President, President John Dramani Mahama. So greetings from the Ghanaian people to everyone, and greetings to all of you. I'm used to be in South Africa. I've seen Dr. Sefolo there, right down to what we call the year of return, and now the Black Sky experience. Our message has always been that we need to protect our identity as African people. And then, of course, if you look at the way the Ghana tourism is set up, as I mentioned, culture and heritage, we have provided is sustained in terms of revenue that people earn, in terms of the identity that people protect, etc. Now, if we go to places like Wabin Frima, for example, which is a multi-sanctuary, that is a very protected area where the
Wena wazi kakhulu wena.
Good, okay. Can you please briefly challenge about your business?
Okay, wait. I mustn't say who I am next. I must just be like the business is.
It's fine. You can say, I'm Mamelo, I'm the CEO. I started the company how many years ago? Okay, this is what we do, our services.
Okay.
When you are ready?
I'm ready. Do I look at the camera or I look at you?
Me, right, Scott?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Hi, my name is Mbalenhle Mthethwa and I am from Saturated. I am the CEO of Saturated. We were founded in 2019 and we are pretty much a sector agnostic digital solutions agency where we build different types of products, different types of innovations. We have different services coming from your web design, your app design, your program design, all things digital skills training, cybersecurity, you name it, we are there.
Since you started your company in 2019, that's pre-COVID, what are some of the challenges that you encountered during the pandemic, or did it maybe work in your favor since you were online?
To be honest, 100%, it worked in our favor. It was good for us because we were getting a lot of clients in terms of how they can basically evolve from being primarily physical to digital. And for us, it also gave us the chance to really optimize our skills, to upskill, because everyone was remote, so working from home. So we took that time to really build on our skills and then bridge into that gap into the market and just push from there. So I think COVID for us was actually a big booster for our business more than anything.
Okay, it's good. Okay. Okay, let me just ask. So
yeah, hit me.
Since you started your business during 2019, which was pre-COVID, how did it affect your business, or did it maybe work in your favor since all your services are online?
Yes, it definitely worked in our favor because we were really able to sit down, assess the skills that we needed at that time, and really assist businesses into transforming and evolving into the digital space. Because everyone was working remotely, we took that time to train, upskill, and really work on ourselves as a team and as a business, because I think that's also very important, that business culture and dynamics. And then we were able to really, really help clients and grow with them. So it gave us a boost because the clients that we got during COVID are still the clients that we have now.
And what would you say are some of the challenges that you are facing in terms of having support, like financially getting investors? Because it's not that easy as a young business to be trusted with such big finances.
I think what's important and what advice I would give to other people who are also starting in business is really get the education behind it, because you can get the skill, but get the education to back your skill. Make sure you have your documents in order, because that's one barrier that will cut you out into entry. Because you can run and have the skill, but you don't have a registered company, you don't have a bank account, you don't have CSD. You need to be registered on all things and be compliant. Once you are compliant, you'll be able to see what type of opportunities are fitting. Get into an accelerator, an incubator sort of program where you can have a dedicated mentor who can help you grow your business, because that's what we did, what we experienced, and it really helped us, because the more you network, the more you understand where you are fit as a business. That's where you'll get your clients, and that's where you'll also grow in your network.
And moving forward, what are some of the why for you is collaboration so important in growing your business?
It's really important because, funny story, us being here, we were actually one of the participants who participated in this Youth in Tourism Innovation Challenge in 2021. We were runner-ups on a digital product that we came up with at that time. It was hosted in Namibia at that time, and we built relationships from there. They saw who we were as a business. We started servicing them and assisting them with designs, with support here and there. And now three years later, here we are. So it's important to come to conferences like this. It's important to participate in these challenges. There are so many competitions. You are never too big for a competition. Apply, you'll get exposure, you'll get that funding, you'll get that support, and you'll also get mentorship. So networking is very important, because we wouldn't be here exhibiting here, or clients that are actually service providers to them, and them also being one of our clients, and vice versa. So it goes a long way to collaborate and network in this space.
Thank you so much, sis. Like, you are proof that delayed it. Okay. So can you please briefly tell us more about your business?
Okay, yeah, no, thanks. My name is Sabonga Mabanga from Sakile Youth Empowerment Center, which is a non-profit organization from Mpumalanga under the Likwa local municipality. So we're a youth development organization specializing in development projects of young people. The center was established in 2007. We're currently, I think, plus minus 16 years of operation under the youth development in Mpumalanga. We're one of the centers which were funded by the Department of Social Development in the province of Mpumalanga. We have also now ventured under what we call the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship as an organization. We have partnered with Spanner Online, we have partnered with Saturated Africa, the Department of Science and Innovation, TIA, also its agency. So in terms of our services, what we do, we give young people development projects from any development, hosting NYS projects within the community, developing entrepreneurship guidelines for them, and also assisting young people in terms of social and economical issues, your job placement, job creation as young people. We also, what we call, we are one of the youth development centers in the province of Mpumalanga, which we've contributed under the policy, which is the provincial policy from the Department of Social Development. We're one of the youth centers. We're the only youth center in Khetsibande district in Mpumalanga, which is now ventured under what we call the CIE project with Saturated Africa and the Department of Science. So in actual sense, we are a youth center. We have passion for community development. We have passion to what we call entrepreneurship, social enterprise. Now we're moving to an element of what we want to create an ecosystem in terms of young people from the digital. That is why we've partnered with one of the biggest companies, Saturated Africa, which are doing extremely well. Spanner Online is a concept that we developed last year, and it is now reflecting on the integrated development plan of the municipality in Mpumalanga. So that's why we're here. We're here to showcase our work. We're here to build relations, and we're also here to build a sustainable relations so that we can be able to fund this project. Thanks.
Lovely. And in a country with such high unemployment rate, why did you say it's so important that through your initiative that you really do provide skills to upskill them and also placement opportunities, because most people don't know how to actually get the job or what is needed in the job market?
No, thanks. I think that's a very important question. We are in a transition within the country from digital. We're migrating from the old traditional way. We're now moving on to digital, what we call a digital economic system that we're moving from. So it's very important as young people, they must be able to participate in skills of development, which are digital skills, cybersecurity. So we've managed to create a platform for them so that they can learn not only from our own country, but they can, such as this event is very magnitude. You can able to socialize with other partners from outside of the country. And in terms of the issue of unemployment, it's a very big issue within our community. I think you can see in time from time, it's always discussed within the news. So that is why as an organization, Youth Empowerment Center, we want to be able to train young people to create job opportunities for themselves. We are currently doing that. I think we have managed to put young people under our digital ecosystem. I think we have brought our innovators. They are here today within that. So we're leading a delegation of 20 young people from Mpumalanga to attend this session. One of them, he has designed an app, a musical app, so that they can be able to develop with what we call youth who are selling products of what we call manufacturing products, from cleaning product services. We also have what we call Somashishin business. They are selling food. So we have brought them here. It's a big occasion for us. But it's, for me, importantly, it's a big occasion for young people within this country. We now have to act and be able to develop our own self, because we cannot rely on an old government system. We must bring on innovative ideas. We must be able to access opportunities. That is why we're here. So we're here to give young people the opportunities. Thanks. I think that is my submission on that comment.
Thank you so much.